Have you ever Googled what foods do I eat to lose weight or how to lose weight in Google? When I Googled it, here are the search results I got. 423 million results. 423 million results. Now maybe you've heard my friend Lamin's story before. When Lamin got relocated to China, he had a new stressful job, working long hours, away from his home, in his car a lot, so he found himself gaining 60 or 70 pounds within about a year. Now, he only went to the doctor after he started suffering many different health problems. He had hypertension, high blood pressure, and honestly the doctor said, look, you're pre-diabetic at 28, and you're on the long road to an early grave and a painful death, a painful, slow, drawn-out death. Now, being just in his late 20s, the mention of death freaked him out a bit. And so he did what we all do. He went to Google, he typed in, what do I do to lose weight? How do I lose weight? What are the foods to lose weight? So the first link he clicked on was this big bodybuilding guy that said, hey, you've got to eat a ton of protein, you've got to lift weights 4 days a week. Now, he went to the next link. This time it was an MD that said, eat a balanced diet, avoid high GI carbs, yada, yada, yada. The next one was this attractive looking woman who was vegan. She said, hey, don't eat animal products, just focus on juicing and eating plants. Now, naturally, this went on and on and on, and each link had a different solution to Lamin's weight problem. Obviously, Lamin did what we all do. He promptly closed out the internet browser, never opened it again, and went back to his old disease-producing lifestyle. Now, be honest here, how many times has this happened to you? Probably a lot, right? Anything health-related, not even necessarily what to eat or do to lose weight, but anytime you Google something health-related, is XYZ bad for me? Are carbs bad for me? Is fat bad for me? You get 100 different results saying 100 different bloody things. I mean, if you just go to Amazon.com right now in the book section, type in any kind of diet search term, look how many books show up. Tens of thousands. And honestly, 1,000 of them were probably added just this year alone. So how do you figure out what is really the best diet and what's the best thing for you? Well, actually, there's some really interesting new research that came out. Dr. David Katz is a researcher and physician at Yale University's prevention research team. A scientific publishing company called Annual Reviews decided to reach out to Dr. Katz and ask him if he would compare the science, the evidence, for and against almost all of the major diets out there. So they put together this research paper and they analyzed most of the popular diets. Low carb, low fat, Mediterranean, low GI, paleo, vegetarian, and vegan. And here's what they found. Because of the nature of bias and the lack of true, proper methodological, long-term longitudinal studies, they could not determine which diet was the best. There was no evidence suggesting which one was better. But they found one clear characteristic surrounding all of these diets. Can you guess what it was? Just eat real food. So the emphasis was on whole, natural, unprocessed, unrefined foods. Think about it. The low carbers emphasized eating the proper carbs, right? And avoidance of the bad sugars. Low-fat people avoided the bad fats, and vegetarians focused on eating a high plant intake and whole, unprocessed, minimally tampered with foods. But what about fat, for example? They found no decisive evidence that low-fat was any better than high-fat in the context of eating the right fats, the proper, whole, unrefined fats. Now what about carbs, though? What they found was most important was that people were carb selective. So once again, it wasn't whether or not you were eating carbs, it was what carbs you were eating. They emphasized the whole, unrefined carbs, right? So eating brown rice instead of white rice, eating whole grains versus refined white flour. So truly the big differences here were being fat and carbohydrate selective. So it wasn't a matter whether or not they were eating carbs or whether or not they were eating fats, it was what kinds they were eating. He and his research team eventually concluded that if you eat food direct from nature, you don't have to worry about saturated fat or processed foods or salt. If you just focus on real food, the nutrients take care of themselves. So here's what this means for you. I personally find the just eat real food philosophy to be the most practical, the most implementable, be the most sustainable, and the most realistic for the vast majority of people. And the best part, it works. And I have dozens of 100-pound weight loss success stories to prove it. In fact, there are 3 reasons why I think this is superior to the vast majority of other types of eating. Now, for example, the first one is that they don't eliminate any food groups, right? When you just eat real food, the emphasis is not on don't eat fat or don't eat carbs or don't eat protein. It's on what kind of fat and carbs and protein you're eating. So have you ever tried going no carb? I mean, really, truly going no carb, just eating plants and protein. It's pretty difficult. And in fact, I did an experiment for 30 days just to have no carbs unless they were just plants like romaine lettuce and just eating protein. Now, I don't know about you, but I had insane sugar cravings all day long. And that never happens to me. I don't ever get cravings, and I had them all day long. So ultimately, this was not going to be very successful for me. But the truth about removing food groups is that anything you remove Anything you deprive yourself of, you're just going to want more and you're going to crave. The second thing is that this just eat real food philosophy is realistic for the average person. I mean, think about it. Does restricting stuff get you really excited? You get, excited in the morning thinking, oh yeah, I can't eat fat or I can't eat carbs. And think about going out to a restaurant, for example. If you can't eat carbs, what do you actually get with dinner? You get salad or something else? Now, the third, and perhaps the most interesting to you, is that it works, and it's a non-diet fad approach to real weight loss and real results. And again, you can actually focus on just what you're eating, and you will lose weight sustainably and keep it off. Again, there are dozens of my 100-pound case studies to prove it and supporting this whole idea. Like I said, every single one of the case studies, the success stories I've been sharing with you, Sol, Amanda, Daniel, Lauren, Lamine, so many others, all embodied this just eat real food approach. I don't even think one of them said, hey, calorie counting was the big epiphany for me, or Atkins was the big epiphany for me. No, they all did the just eat real food thing. Now, here's the best part about it. Using this just eat real food philosophy, you will not be hungry. Now, you'll either dramatically be less hungry or you won't be hungry at all. I have so many people saying they were never ever hungry and they've lost tons of weight without being hungry. I mean, that's a miracle for most people. The next is that portion control is automatically built in, because when you focus on the key principles I'm about to give you, you'll know exactly how much to eat without eyeballing it. You'll know when to eat, how much to eat. All those burning questions will be answered. So portion control, hunger management, and automatic calorie counting without you having to do that BS will automatically be taken care of. So by now your big burning question is probably, what is real food? Well, I've included a big infographic for you below, so go ahead and check that out. Now, DreamBody, the anti-diet solution, is built upon this entire just eat real food philosophy. There's no removal of food groups, and I wanted to create a world-class integrative health and weight loss program that focused on helping normal, average people, not these athletes trying to get six-packs or get totally ripped. I wanted to create a nutritional approach that was real, sustainable, practical, and it just worked for people. And I wanted something that was really, really sustainable in the end, because so many people had been through 10, 20, 30, 40 years of up and down fad diets, and they wanted something that would stick around with them for the long run. And again, I just want to remind you, all of the success stories I profiled, and I'm going to be introducing you to more and more of them, all of them kept their weight off at least a year, 2 or 3 later, and most of them still have. And again, the program is built upon this simple yet powerful philosophy. Now, DreamBody is going to be opening soon in May, in the next few weeks, so go ahead, add yourself to the early bird waiting list below, and I will notify you once it's open. Here's what I want you to do now. I want you to go below, check out that real food infographic, and then leave me a comment below. Tell me what's one gripe, one complaint you've had with previous diets, and I'll let you know how this kind of new approach can help you.